am Niambi, and this is Thursday Night Deep Stretch. We're going to start down on our back. This Thursday Night Deep Stretch with You Call This Yoga. I'm going to make my way down to my mat. If you have any props, you can have them nearby. I'm going to have my blocks nearby just in case. And we're just going to begin by making our way down. Let's see. Hi, Kat. Making our way down onto our backs, beginning to release the day, release any tension, and just settle in and breathe. Okay. So I'm going to come down into a recline down angle just because that's comfortable for me and it helps me release my hips. And let's just settle in and take a moment. Take a moment to arrive here in your practice. Maybe you just take a few cleansing breaths. Our cleansing breath, we take a deep inhale, and then we sigh it out audibly. So maybe you do that a few times to just settle in and arrive. Let your body get heavy. Notice any place that may be a little more tender. Notice any place where you may be holding a little more tension. Let's just really focus on releasing this evening. Releasing anything that no longer serves us, and understanding that that is just a natural part of the cycle of life. That some things, some people, some opportunities, some situations make their way into our lives for a season, for a reason. And then once they have run their course, they make their way out. And it's up to us to release it in preparation for what lies ahead. So let's just continue to breathe. And we'll settle in. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe, release. 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 Expand, be still and breathe, release. Expand, be still and breathe, release. Expand, be still
and breathe, release, expand, be still, 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 and breathe, release, 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 be still, and breathe, be still, and breathe, be still, and breathe, be still, and breathe, be still, be still, be still, be still.
So on your next inhale, we'll slowly draw your knees up to center. If you were in recline bound angle, and we're going to squeeze in for a nice, tight, full wind relieving pose. And let's just hold here for a moment. Maybe you rock side to side. Maybe you point and flex your feet. Breathe. Maybe you make some circles with your knees up at the top. Keep breathing. Maybe you pause at the top and you go in the opposite direction and breathe. And take your time and really feel into your lower back. And again, maybe we point and flex. Notice if there's any tension in your shoulders. Maybe you can make some ankle circles. And go in the opposite direction. And point and flex. Maybe you alternate feet when you point and flex. And breathe. Squeeze in again, nice and tight. And we're going to slowly place our left foot down on the mat. Squeeze in the right foot. And maybe you straighten that left leg down. And hold in and breathe. Release any tension in your shoulders, your back, your jaw. And just continue to breathe. And when you're ready, straighten that right leg up toward the ceiling. You can hold behind your knee. You point and flex. It'll give you a completely different stretch down the back of that leg. Point and flex a little more. Maybe you reach up and you just begin massaging into the back of that leg. Point and flex. Continue to massage down into the hamstring, up behind the knee, up the calf. And when you're ready, you're just going to take the right leg and bring it across the body. So you're holding it with the left hand. If you can bring your foot down to the mat, that is fine. This is some place where you can also use a block to help rest that foot. You can take the right arm into a T, out to a T, and take your gaze over to the right and breathe. And just begin to let it settle in and feel that stretch up the outside of your right leg. And breathe. In deep stretch, we hold our poses anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes up to 5, depending on the muscle group that we are stretching. And this allows time and gravity to support our bodies in releasing. You feel the stretch across your lower back. It's a nice spinal twist. If you can, keep that right shoulder down on the mat and breathe. If you point and flex your foot, you feel a stretch in your IT band. You may feel it up your hamstring. So play around with it and figure out, what might be a little bit tight for you tonight, what would feel good in your body, and breathe. Notice where any tension might be building up as we hold the pose. So think about your jaw. Think about the space between your eyebrows. Think about your shoulders and release any tension in those areas. And breathe. We're more than halfway through the pose, so we're almost there. Just continue to breathe and breathe into any tension, breathe into any discomfort. So on your next inhale, you'll engage the core and you'll slowly bring that right leg back up to center. The left leg is still straight, and then we're going to take the right leg out to the right side. So now we're opening up this hip socket, this hip joint on the right leg. And again, if you have a block, you can use the block. You can place the block on the higher level and bring your foot down on the block. If that is helpful within your practice, you can put the block under your leg. If that support feels good, and then just hold behind your knee. Whatever your body needs, play around with it and then settle in and breathe. You can take your left arm out in a T, and you can take your gaze over to the left. That's going to give you a nice stretch down the right side of your neck. And breathe. Release any tension in your shoulders. Think about your jaw, the space between your eyebrows. And just continue to breathe into any discomfort. More than halfway there. So just keep breathing. Breathe. Also remember you can take your hand and massage into any tight muscles. If your hip flexor is tight, if your hamstring is tight, you can get in there and just massage and help your body release. So on the next inhale, engage your core. Slowly bring that right leg up, and then we'll bend down just for a nice, tight little half wind reliever one more time, just to help reset. And then we'll slowly stretch the right leg out. Place the sole of your foot on the mat and then extend that leg. And when you're ready, you slowly and gently draw the left leg up and bring it in for a nice, tight, wind relieving pose. Point and flex, maybe ankle circles. Release any tension in your shoulders and breathe. So your next inhale, we're going to straighten that left leg up. And again, you can hold behind the knee. You can hold up at the ankle if that's in your practice. You can massage your hands down the back of that left leg and really get a nice massage. Nice, nice, nice. And breathe into the tension. Breathe into the tense spots. And when you're ready, we're going to take that left leg, cross it across the body, and you can hold it with the right hand. The left arm is out in a T. You can take your gaze over to the left. If you have a block, you can bring that foot down onto a block. And play around with it. Adjust and figure out what feels good in your body this evening. And then settle in. Release any tension in your shoulders. And breathe. Remember, you can use your hands to massage any tight muscles around the hips, up through that IT band. And breathe. I'm more than halfway there. Keep breathing. So your next inhale, engage your core and slowly bring that left foot back to center. And you can use the left hand and we're going to take it out to the left and open up that hip flexor. You can even massage down the top of the right leg if you feel any tension there. You can take your right arm out into a T and take your gaze over to the right and breathe. And settle in. Remember, you can also use your block here as well. I put mine up on the highest level for this one because my hips are tight. So, and then you can just rest that foot there on the block and feel that muscle opening up and settle in and breathe. And breathe. More than halfway through. Just remember, you can massage behind the knee, massage up the hamstring, massage into that hip flexor, and breathe. So your next inhale, slowly engage your core. Bring that left leg up, bend it in, and let's just bring the right leg in also. Give ourselves a nice tight hug, full wind relieving pose. You can rock side to side. Point and flex our feet. Yeah. And when you're ready, we're gonna rock up. And we're going to come through onto all fours. So we can take a few rounds of cat and cow. When we come to all fours, we want to make sure our joints are stacked. So hips over knees, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Now tonight, I'm going to offer you, you can take it with your toes untucked, how we would typically do cat or cow. Or you can try doing it with tucked toes. And it's just going to give you a different sensation. You can see how it feels. We're not actually doing a toe stretch yet, but you may need to stretch into it a little bit to get your toes prepared. And then you can experiment with cat and cow with tucked toes. So for cow, we inhale. And drop your midsection toward the mat. You really press through your heart. This is where you can also press through those tucked toes and use them as leverage. And cat, we exhale and arch up like an angry cat. Again, you can press through those toes and just see how it feels. And if you don't care for it, then you can untuck them. So inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. For cat, you take your gaze towards your belly button. Inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Press through your heart. Exhale. The cat, gaze back towards your belly button. Maybe you come up on your fingertips. Nice angry cat. You can press through those shoulder blades and really feel the stretch. Maybe you do some hip circles while we're in tabletop if that feels good. You know, you can go side to side and just really begin to wake up your spine and just flow back and forth through that cat and cow motion. And side to side. And we'll take 3 more rounds at your own pace. And one more. Very nice. And so from here, we're going to go into child's pose. So child's pose, you want to bring your 2 big toes together. Take your knees out the width of your mat or wider. Really press your hips back. And then we'll just walk our hands forward and rest your forehead on the mat and breathe. A few more breaths here. 2 more. One more. Excellent. And slowly walk your hands back, nice and slow. Bring your knees in together. And from here, I'm just going to go ahead and take us down flat onto our bellies so we can do a little more with our spine, a nice little back bend. So come down flat onto your belly. We're going to go into Sphinx pose. Your forearms are down on the mat, toes untucked. This is an active pose, so you should be pressing in through the tops of your feet. You have a nice little back bend, gaze forward, and breathe. Two more breaths. And one more. So next inhale, you just take your gaze over to the right and breathe. Continue to breathe. Two more breaths. And one more. So your next inhale will come through center and then take your gaze over to the left and breathe. Few more breaths. Two more. One more. And slowly bring your gaze back forward. And then we're just gonna stack our arms at the top of our mat for a nice relaxing crocodile pose. You can maybe rock side to side if you need to help release your hips, maybe bend your knees. For a nice windshield wiper, you drop your head. That windshield wiper feels good and helping release that back bend. So we'll take a few more passes here. Maybe try it bringing your knees together. Maybe you drop to one side and hold it, if that feels good. Go to the other side. Just being intentional about what our bodies need and what feels good in our bodies. We'll take a few more passes. Maybe you even take a hand and massage into that lower back if that feels good. Okay. And when you're ready, you tuck your toes. You can slowly press back up to all fours again. And we'll make our way into a seated position. We'll do our legs crisscross applesauce. And we're just gonna do some shoulder stretches, neck stretches. We'll get some eagle arms in there just so that we can open up a little bit. So let's just start with some head rolls. So drop the chin to chest, over to the right, around, to the left, right. So we'll take 8 rotations, starting now, not including those other 2. So this was 1. And just breathe and do it at your own pace and really feel into it. Feel where you feel the tension in your neck. And maybe I feel it going down my shoulder blades when I come forward. Got a few more. 3 more. Mhm. 2 more. Mhm. And 1 more. Very good. Now we're going the opposite direction. So again, let's just be mindful and gentle and notice when you go around, where do you feel it? And how can you support any tension being released? Any glitches in our neck, our jaw, shoulders. We're halfway through. Few more. And 1 more. Yes, very nice. So take a moment and just let all of the circles settle. So just let your head stay centered and let that energy reverberate and settle. And when you're ready, we're going to go into eagle arm. So actually, let's change the cross of our legs. So whichever leg was in front with the opposite. Take a nice breath. And we'll take our arms out wide. We're going to start with the left hand going under. So you bring them together, left hand goes under, you cross at the elbow, and you bend the arms up. And if that is enough, if that is sufficient for your practice, you can stay right here. If you would like to try and complete the bind, you take the left arm and bring it around. So you want to make sure, this is a little trick. If you hold yourself like you're hugging yourself, you can bring your elbows further across. And then once your elbows are crossed, that supports you taking the rest of the bind. So, and then once you get here, or whatever variation is in your body this evening, just settle in and breathe. A few more breaths. You want to try your best to bring your elbows up to shoulders, shoulder height, in line with your shoulders. That will deepen the stretch. So if you're here and you don't really feel anything, you bring it up. You'll feel it come across that back into those shoulder blades. And let's just breathe. We're almost there. A few more breaths. Keep breathing. So your next inhale, if you took the bind, release your hands and slowly and gently stretch out. Maybe you press back a little bit to help release. Maybe you swoop the arms forward for a nice little arm circle. Swoop. Let's just do that 2 more times. Just swoop the arms forward to help release. And last time. And just rest. And when you're ready, we'll take the arms out. And this time we'll bring the right arm under. So arms out, bring the right arm under. Remember, you can just give yourself a hug to help set those elbows. And once they are crossed, you bring it right here. You can stay here if this is in your practice, or you can complete the bind and breathe. Just settle in, release any tension. Breathe. Notice any place where there may be tension. Feel into it, breathe into it, and send your energy there to release it. And breathe. Remember to bring those arms up in line with the shoulders. That's going to deepen that stretch. Sometimes I take a little circular motion. That helps me stretch out across my back and my shoulder blades because it's pretty tight there for me. But you just have to figure out what your body needs and what feels good. We're more than halfway through the pose. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing. So your next inhale, slowly release the bind. Again, maybe we press back. Maybe this time we give ourselves a nice tight squeeze, side to side. And so what did we do last time? We went forward. Let's go back and swoop over just to release those shoulders. Back and over. 2 more times. Back and over. 1 more time. Back and over. Very nice. Okay. So let's take our legs out in front. And we are going to do a forward fold. If you have a block or 2 blocks, you can use your blocks. You can have your legs slightly open if that's comfortable, or you can even place the blocks on your legs. You can use them to rest your head if that's in your practice. You want to come down a little lower. Whatever supports your body this evening. Or like I said, you can have them have your legs a little bit apart, and then you can have the block on the floor and rest your head. And so you reach for your feet, hold the bottom of your feet if you can, if that's in your practice, and just settle in and let your body begin to melt into this forward fold. And don't forget to breathe. The breath helps us release, it helps us go deeper. Keep breathing. You can drop your head. Maybe you massage your neck if it's tight at all. You can massage up the side of the neck and help it release in this forward fold. Maybe sway a little bit if that feels good, and breathe. Keep breathing. Remember, you are never stuck. We are more than halfway there. We're almost done with this forward fold. So hang in there. And if there's any more that you want to give, any deeper, any more space that your body made, now is the time as we enter these last few moments of this pose. So your next inhale, slowly begin to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Go nice and slow. Let your head be the very last thing to come up. Very nice. And from here, we're going to open up into a wide-legged straddle. And we're going to do what's called Sufi circles. But before we do, let's just flow side to side and just really feel that side body stretch. So take your time. Go as deep or not as deep as your body dictates. And breathe. And we're just going to go side to side. A few more times, side to side. A few more times, side to side. And keep going. We'll go maybe 2 more times, and then I'll demonstrate what the Sufi grind looks like, and then we'll do that. So remember to breathe. This will be the last one to the right. And come back center. And so with the Sufi grind, it is warming up and working out the rotation here at the hip, the pelvic area, this whole little midsection. And so you can either place your hands down on the mat. You can keep your hands on your legs, or if you want to add some core work, if you stir the pot by not having your hands down, you are engaging your core. So we're going to go 8 in one direction, and then we'll pause at the top, let it reverberate down, and then we go in the opposite direction, okay? So all of those that I just did do not count. So when you're ready, we'll just head toward the left and make our way. Really breathe and feel that stretch through those hamstrings. Feel that stretch in your hip sockets. Go at whatever pace works for you. So remember, when you complete your first 8, pause at the top, let it settle in. And when you're ready, go in the opposite direction. Sometimes your joints might get cranky. Mine do. So they snap, crackle, and pop, and that's perfectly fine. And just remember when you finish, pause at the top. Very nice, and let it settle. So when you're ready, maybe you take your two peace sign fingers and draw your knees in and slowly come in from that wide-legged straddle. And we'll take a few passes of windshield wiper. Take a very nice and intentional and nice and deep. Maybe you press through the back foot to get that stretch up into that glute muscle and into the lower back. Whatever feels good. Yeah. And when you're ready, we're gonna come long way on our mat, back to what looks like legs out in front, and we're gonna make our way down to our backs. So you flex your feet, you'll reach long, engage your core, and slowly roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Take your time, as controlled as possible. Very good. So let's just settle in for a moment. Maybe take a few passes of windshield wiper here on our backs. Sometimes that helps when we first get back down flat on our backs. And breathe. Yep. And from here, we're going to go into Happy Baby. So with Happy Baby, you can draw both knees in, and you want the soles of your feet as if you were standing on the ceiling. Okay? Now, you can either hold behind your knees at your thighs, your hamstrings, and draw in and down. And you really want your feet still as if you're standing on the ceiling. Or you can reach up, if it's in your practice, and grab for the outer blades of your feet, and then open and draw down. You want to release any tension in your shoulders and breathe. Just settle in and breathe. Few more breaths. Maybe you rock your baby. If that feels good on your lower back, you can rock side to side. You can straighten one leg if that feels good, and then draw it in and straighten the other leg. Or you can just come back down to center and ground down. And remember, each side is different. Each day is different. Some days I rock my baby. Tonight, my lower back does not want that. So we're just going to ground down and really open up these hip muscles. And that's what we need today. And next week, we may need something else. And so it's really listening to your body. We have a few more breaths here. Two more breaths. And one more. Very nice. So slowly draw the soles of your feet together, and you're going to bring your knees in, and you can bring the soles of your feet down to the mat. We're going to go into waterfall. I'm going to cue it as supported waterfall. So if you have a block, you can use it. If not, you can do it without the block. It doesn't have to be supported. So just press the soles of your feet in the mat, push your hips up, and place your block at your lower back if you're using one. And when you're ready, we'll just take our feet up to the ceiling and begin to let ourselves settle into this inversion. Inversions are a really good way to end the day. And so just breathe. Maybe you point and flex your feet. Maybe you make some ankle circles. If that feels good, point and flex. And I'm going to silence myself, and we'll just settle in here for a few moments.
No. No.
So your next inhale, you slowly bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet down to your mat. Press up and remove your block if you used it. And let's take a few passes of the windshield wiper, nice and slowly, gently. We're going to stretch out on our mat into star pose, where your legs are open, your arms are open like a star, and really press through. So you alternate, you press your right foot and reach your left arm, and then you switch. Press your left foot and reach your right arm, and you just alternate back and forth to get that nice full body stretch. And when you're ready, take any last minute movements before we set up for Shavasana. So maybe you squeeze in for full wind relieving pose. Maybe you stretch and massage the back of the legs one more time. Listen to your body, see what feels good. Windshield wiper, and when you're ready, set up for Shavasana. You can use a blanket. You can use your bolster. I'm going to use a bolster. And find rest.
This truth I need, to this truth I need, I am this truth I to this truth I this truth I am humble, I am curious, I am open, I this truth I've got beauty inside, and my soul speaks through my eyes. I am all that is to find this to find.
So slowly begin to bring your awareness back into the space. You can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, flutter your eyelids. Take a few breaths. And when you're ready, roll over onto your favorite side. Draw your knees in. You can use your arm as a headrest. We end our practice in Shavasana, which is corpse pose. And it is a pose of endings. It is a pose of release. It is a pose of rest. And then we come here to fetal posture, which is a pose that represents newness, new beginnings. And it is the perfect representation of life because with each ending, there is the opportunity for a new beginning. When you're ready, you can take your hand and press up into a seated position. You can bring your hands to heart center if that is in your practice. I appreciate each of you taking time for yourself on this Thursday evening and allowing me to guide you through your practice. I greatly appreciate it. I am eternally grateful. I do not take it for granted. You can bring your hands to the space between your eyebrows, your third eye center, your intuition space. The light in me sees, honors, and appreciates the light in each of you. Namaste.